where does it leave the future and the mindset of the manager and the players and everyone involved in the club?
So CAS have the power to, obviously they can overturn this. They can reduce the fine to, or reduce the punishment to a 1-year ban or to no ban and a fine or whatever. They can basically do whatever they like. They could even send it back to the adjudicatory chamber. But if we assume that it stands, that it's going to stand as a 2-year ban, and it is a big assumption to make because this is a very harsh, this is an unprecedented punishment. Yeah. It's the maximum punishment that you can basically get. Then the question is, how is this going to affect City? So just basic back of envelope calculations. City made, I'm going to do this in dollars just to annoy English people. They made about 93 million euros last year, which is about $100 million in prize money from the Champions League. And I think it was about the same in previous years because they always get to the quarterfinal or maybe a little further. So obviously they would lose that for 2 years. So you're looking at $200 million less, plus the fine, which is $32.5 million, plus the fact that they're going to lose X amount of home game receipts, plus the reputational damage to the brand, plus the sponsors. Again, I'm sure the Abu Dhabi sponsors are generally on board with this, but a lot of sponsors generally, we've seen this with United sponsors, for example, they agree to sponsor a certain amount, but it's also based on them playing in certain competitions. And if you don't qualify for those competitions, the sponsor gets less exposure. Of course, yeah. So, they may reduce that. So I think all told, probably a ballpark figure in terms of damage might well be in the $150 million range.
So it won't just affect the manager's position, the player's position. It could also affect the owners in terms of what they do going forward.
Yeah, look, the owners are fully committed. They're not going to sell up. But I think what it does mean is, their turnover is right around $600 million. If all of a sudden you have $150 million less in turnover, theoretically, you need to reduce costs by 25%. So that could mean sales, and that could mean some players leaving. That could mean not being able to strengthen the way you would like to. And then there's the other element, which people make a big deal of, which is, but the players want to play in the Champions League, and if they don't have it, they'll move. And specifically the manager, because the manager supposedly is obsessed with winning the Champions League. I kind of feel like let's cross that bridge when we get to it, but it is a risk that that they run into.
Because really, that's what Guardiola wants to do with Manchester City, isn't he? He wants to win the Champions League. He's done it. He's won the Premier League twice. The one thing that's missing from Man City is the Champions League.
To quote Brian Clough, it's hard to win the Premier League any better. Although Liverpool are doing it this season.
Doing it slightly better.
But so I think what I would invite everybody to do is let's wait for the CAS judgment. Let's wait for the written reasons. And then we will have a better idea of what's going on.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.